All right, let's do this. The practice assessment. We've got create a form with three inputs: text size and make it a circle. All right, so a checkbox. Let's do the text one first. I've made an index.html, a scripts.js, and a styles.css already. So I pretty much figure we're going to need these three files. We'll start from the beginning actually. I made an HTML file. I did exclamation point and then hit enter, so that way I don't have to type all this stuff out again. All this is boilerplate. Let's make some space. Then I'm going to go ahead and link my JavaScript file, and I'm going to go ahead and link style sheet. Style sheet href equals. Nice. All right, let's make our form. So form tag for the form, input type equals text, placeholder equals hello. All right, then we need a number, input type equals number, value equals 100, value because I want to start off at 100, placeholders for text, values for numbers. What was the third one? A checkbox for make it a circle. It starts unchecked when the page loads. Okie doke. Input type equals checkbox. And did they want it checked or did they not want it checked? It starts unchecked when the page loads. That's the default behavior. If you want it to be checked, all you gotta do is put checked inside the tag. But since we want it to be unchecked, we don't have to really do anything. We can just go do unchecked. Leave it like this, and it's unchecked by default. All right, a checkbox for make it circle. So we probably should label these things too, shouldn't we? All right, let's do a label. Label text. Label EL. Number. And what did they say here? Make it a circle. All right, I'm gonna give these names too. So this will be the name equals. Did they tell us? Did they want to have a certain name? No. I guess we could just make it up ourselves. So I'll call this text input. I'll call this one number input. Okay, and I'll call this one, I don't know, check input. Cool. And I'll make sure it's for equals text input. For equals number input. And do for equals check input. All right, so we got our basic form, and then we're going to probably need a submit button. Type equals submit. And I'll just make it say submit until they tell me otherwise. Oh, add it. Okay, cool, add it. All right, cool. We've got our form. Whenever the form is submitted, add a div to the page. The new div will always have class shape. The new div will display the text from the text input. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on here. So let's go ahead and go into our JavaScript and actually start working with this and do this one at a time. So I think I'm done with all the HTML. I'm going to check and see what it looks like. A little ugly, but whatever. Okay, everything at least is there. Probably will use like maybe some Flexbox at some point to make it look decent. All right, so I'm going to actually give my form an ID while I'm at it. ID equals, I don't know, form. Cool. Very, very creative. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to target my form. I give it an ID so I can use get element by ID to target it. So I'm going to do let form equals document dot get element by ID form. Okay, you could use query selector. There's really no difference. Like, you'll get the form either which way. Alrighty, so when the form is submitted, so that means I've got to have an event listener. So we're going to do form.add event listener, submit, and I'm going to call the function submit form. Now I have to actually make said function. So function, name of the function submit form. It takes in an event. I'm going to call that E. First I'm going to do is event.prevent default because I don't want the form to refresh the page when the form is submitted. So I like to tell the computer, don't do that. So prevent default will take care of that for me. Alrighty, so now I can go ahead and get some data out the form. So let's do that. Let's do let data equals new form data form. Okay, and what was it in here? It was like the text, the number. Okay, cool. So we'll do let text equals data.get. And what did I name this thing? So when you get, you have to look at the name. So that's how it knows like what to get. So it's going to look at text input. So if I do get text input, it will get whatever they typed in there. And then, oops, I mean to get rid of those menus. And then let, I don't know, number equal data.get number input. We double check to make certain that's why I named it. Yep. And then let is checked equal data.get. And what did I name it? I named it check input. All right, there we go. I got all this stuff from my form. Okay, so it looks like we need to make a div that will have the class shape. So now I've got like my form setups, right? So I target the form by its ID. I added an event listener saying, hey, this is what I want you to do when that person clicks that button to submit. And then this is the function that will run when the event is submitted. I told the computer, I don't want you to refresh the page, don't do that. And then this basically gets all the stuff that the person typed. All right, now that I've got all that done, let's go ahead and move on to actually doing what the thing wants us to do, which is create a div. So I'm going to do let create div equal document dot create element div. Okay, cool. Now it has to have a class. I think it said the class had to be shape. So the new div will always have class shape. So create div dot class list dot add shape. Cool. So my div now has the shape class. Awesome. The new div will display the text from the text input. Okay, so create div. Okay, dot inner text equals text. Nice and simple. All right, the new div will have width, height, and line height CSS properties set to the size input with. Okay, we're gonna just take this whole thing in here and turn that into a comment so I can look at that again. Alrighty, so the new div will have height, weight, and line height. So we can do create div dot style dot height is equal to number with px units. No biggie. We'll just make certain that it's px by doing string concatenation and just doing this plus px, and that will be good. Then we're going to create div dot style dot width equals number plus px, and then line height. Cool. Okay, so I'm guessing we're like making a div and then we get to set its styles through the form. Cute. The new div will have an additional CSS class of circle if the make it circle checkbox is checked. Okay, cool. So let me go and take those instructions in two. Those are rather long. Alright, so if is checked. Now remember, this is the same as this. I just don't want to write all that stuff out, so I'm just going to do is checked. So if it's checked, then create div dot, we'll have a class of circles. So class list dot add circle. Make it a circle checkbox is checked. Awesome. And then what do you want me to do with it? So I will add a div to the page. Does it say where? So I'm just going to like append it to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like stick it towards the end. So after the form, I'm just going to make a placeholder div. Okay, so div ID equals placeholder. I'm going to target that. Is that what I called it? I just called it placeholder. Cool. Alrighty, so I targeted it. So I'm just going to go ahead and append a child. So placeholder div dot append child. What was it called? Create div. Okay, cool. Right, so when you want to create a HTML element, you can do so simply like this, document.create element. If you want to add classes, it looks like this, classlist.add, and then the name of the class. Inner text is what's inside the tag, what it reads, and then after that you can do like styles like height, width, and line height. All right, and then whether or not that this checkbox is checked, this should give us a Boolean because checkboxes are either checked or unchecked. So there's only two values, so Boolean makes a lot of sense. So if it's checked, I will add this circle. If not, then we don't need to put an else statement because we're not going to do anything. All right, now the dreaded styles. For the shape class, add a border. Oh, good Lord. All right, let's go to the styles of CSS. For the shape class, so dot shape means class, so dot is class. Add a border display and add a border, I guess. Display inline block. Okay, cool. Text align is center, and right margin. Oh, excuse me, margin right is 10 pixels. Cool. For the circle class, use border radius to make this shape appear as a circle. Border radius, I think it could be like what, like 50%, something like that. We're going to see in a second. So let's save everything and then let's see if this works. All right. Cool. I will just put like high 50 and add it. Did not seem to work. Let me see if I put not making a circle. No, it just puts high. It does get the text. Okay, it does not seem to actually apply any styles. All right, let's take a look to see what happens. So I do have styles.css here. I save everything. All right, let me take a look. Okay, duh, I forgot. So border should be solid so it actually like shows up on the screen. Alrighty, so let's put something in here. Okay, great, it's a square. If I click this, great, it's a circle. Let's play with the numbers a bit. If I do this, it's a smaller circle. And then if I do, I don't know, 200, it should be a bigger square. Awesome. Okay, cool. So it looks like I was able to put text in, put in a number, check this box, click the button, and then I made a circle or a square depending on what it was. So to go over the code one more time, I first targeted my form. I also targeted that placeholder div I made earlier in the HTML. There needs to be a function that runs when the user submits the form. So that means that we're going to add an event listener to the form. That's why form is here first. Form.add event listener. We're adding an event listener to the form. It's submit, and then when the user submits, I want them to run the function submit form. Okay, you run the function submit form. It takes in an event as a parameter. Stop the form from refreshing the page. Okay, the page will not be refreshed. Then grab the data from the form. Then pick out what data specifically you want. Remember, if you use data.get needs to the name needs to match the name from the HTML tag. So this says name equals text input. So that means that this also has to match that because that's how the computer knows where to get the thing from. All right, and so you create a div by document.createElement. Again, it could be a div, it could be a li, it could be whatever you want. Add your class by classlist.add the name of the class. Inner text will change the text. And then height, width, and line height where they use, but those are all styles. So create div.style.height, width, whatever. And then checkboxes are Boolean. So I just did if the checkbox is checked and then added a class. And then the last major thing is append child. That actually takes the element you made and actually puts it on the screen. Alrighty, that was mock assessment 3.